Hello everyone, welcome to Lotus Heart Tarot. I'm so happy to have you here. We are going to dive right into your reading, see what messages Spirit has for us today. For Pisces, please Spirit, what messages can you show us for Pisces? Please Spirit, what does Pisces need to know right now? What does Pisces need to know right now? What does Pisces need to know right now? Wow. Wow. I mean, Pisces, you just keep getting this energy. Sorry, I had to put crystal clothes on her. Because she's bearing it all. We have this energy of discovery, unveiling, laying bare, and couple, duo, and union. Some of you are coming into union with someone, like I feel a deepening of a level of commitment. But I also feel this kind of communication coming in or around this situation where it's like finally like taking the mask off, or yeah, just kind of going deeper, acknowledging, admitting, possibly even like the depth of feelings, or like admitting our own vulnerability, admitting our own fears. There's a very soft energy here where, it's this lady is covered in tattoos. Some of you may have tattoos. You may be dealing with someone that's covered in tattoos. But, tattoos, I love asking people, like, what is this tattoo for? Why do you have this one? Why do you have that one? And a lot of times tattoos are connected to really important times in people's lives, where they are, committing something to memory, it can also be just something that deeply resonates. I have a friend that has breathe right here, because she'd always forget to breathe. Like she'd just kind of go into panic mode and not remember to kind of slow down. And she said, like, after she got breathe tattooed right here, she would remind herself, breathe, 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 and she wouldn't react, she would respond. She would then be able to choose her responses. And so, when you ask people about their tattoos, or when people share with you their tattoos, a lot of times it opens up a deeper level of understanding of that person, or what's important to that person, or what that person has been through. And I'm not saying that, like, okay, it's got to be a tattoo situation, but it is that sort of general feeling of, like maybe that someone's mother died when they were 10, okay? Like they told you that, and that's all they said, and you didn't dig, and you didn't go deeper on it. You just accepted that, okay, their mother died when they were 10. And now it's like you're having the conversation of, my mother died when I was 10, and this is how it affected me. I actually thought that this, and I actually felt this. And, I went from kind of having some stability in my life to not having any at all. It was like my whole life died in that moment. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is, whatever their truth is. But it's it's like someone letting you into a much deeper, more sacred piece of themselves. And, you know, that is a deepening of a level of intimacy. And those kinds of deepening of level of intimacies really do lead to very solid unions, you know, where I can trust you. You know, there are two birds on this card, and I have been getting, there's the quote, and I can't remember what it is, but it's been coming to me for a few days now. Like, the bird doesn't fear the branch breaking because the bird can fly. And, you know, sometimes when you are in a really strong partnership, I mean, I say this all the time about my husband, like, whatever life could, circumstances come at me, it's like, if I look at him, I really truly feel and believe that I'm going to be okay. It's all going to be all right. Like, he's not going to let anything happen to me, you know? And so there is this sort of feeling here with these two birds, when you really have this like true partnership, true coming together. It doesn't make you feel more insecure. It makes you feel more secure, you know, and maybe not right away, right? Right away, we're still establishing trust. We're still establishing this kind of relationship, right? But it feels like if you aren't in something and it isn't reaching this place, it feels like there is something coming in that will reach this place. You know, whatever part of the timeline you're in, there is this energy of security and stability through connection and through like authenticity and exposure, you know, being able to really reveal the truth, or being able to really lay bare your innermost, you know what I mean, to someone, and feel the safety of, you know, someone who truly wants to know, so that they can understand you and care for you and love you and be there with you. Yeah, it's kind of intense. This is also a 28, and this is giving me 10, which is a completion. I feel such peace and such calm in this energy, in this space, in these two cards. It's very balanced and very harmonious and very safe there. And it's kind of like, you know, I have a friend who's a tattoo artist, and he's literally covered from head to toe in tattoos, and so is his wife. And I absolutely love and adore them. And, you know, they're both kind of almost a little bit unapproachable on the outside, but who they really are as people is incredibly loving and compassionate and kind, and, you know, they can be hurt, and they can, you know, they love their child so much, and each other so much. And, you know, both of them have been kind of hurt by the outside world. And I think this is sort of a layer of protection. And when someone like that finally, you know, really opens up and lets you in, you know, someone who has like a lot of walls up or a lot of protection up, or even sort of gives off the vibe of like, you know, I'm an impenetrable fortress, like don't even try it kind of vibe. When they finally open up to you and totally lay bare to you, there's something so genuine and so authentic about that, you know, I will love my friend and his wife forever, you know. I actually photographed their wedding, and when she was pregnant with their son, who's now like going into high school. Oh God. But anyway, you know, they're precious to me. They're absolutely precious to me. And I never take for granted like the access that I've been given to who they genuinely are, you know, as human beings. And I just treasure them both, you know. And there is this energy here with this where it's like the fact that this person is finally opening up or letting you in is you know that it holds more meaning than just sort of face value kind of a thing. I don't know how to really describe it, but you have with these cards mommy time, learning to walk away and bound to you. And it is really giving me, you know, when we are emotionally neglected as children, or abandoned as children, when we don't get our mommy time, you know, it's like the most important relationship we have. And when we get, you know, one that isn't hugely evolved or enlightened, it can be really difficult, right? And it leads to a whole host of wounds that we have to work through in our life. And this energy, like, you are really susceptible to something called limerence if you have a neglectful or emotionally neglectful mother. You are really susceptible to, there's a whole host of things that you are really susceptible to that would be considered like to the toxic side of the scale, right? Because your first most important relationship was toxic. So that's what you know, right? And so but the yearning to be loved, the yearning to be approved of, the yearning to be validated is very strong and can kind of keep you bound to things that aren't necessarily good for you. It's also, you know, this is kind of like a bit of a devil energy where, you know, you're kind of stuck to your lower vibrational tendencies until you kind of dismantle them, until you sort of understand them, until you can kind of name them and work through them and process them and make a conscious choice to do something else besides that. And so, you know, this could be you, this could be this person that, you know, has been possibly been stuck to a sort of a toxic cycle with someone, or, you know, the thing that I'm getting here is in both of these cards, this person is by themselves. So stuck in situations where you're really kind of by yourself, you know, where either the person isn't showing up for you or they are there physically, but not really emotionally or mentally or spiritually. And I feel here in this energy, someone who is learning to overcome that, learning to walk away from that kind of energy, learning to, you know, kind of put something in its place, free themselves from it, you know, recognize it for what it is and kind of be understanding and compassionate and nurturing to themselves and saying like, okay, yeah, you know, of course you were like this. This is a natural, like cause and effect, you know, of having a mother like this. You know, there's a kindness being showed to the self, you know, of whoever this is, where in that kindness and that understanding and that nurturing is liberating, is freeing, you know, where sometimes we have to just acknowledge and admit we didn't get the mom that we wanted, or we didn't get, you know, feeling that we were unconditionally loved, or maybe we just plain weren't unconditionally loved. You know, a lot of people are not unconditionally loved by their parents. It's crazy to me, but that is true. And so it kept us in situations where we felt like we had to earn love, or situations where, you know, it wasn't really being fully reciprocated, or we were not, even if it was reciprocated, we were not getting what we needed from a situation, and we didn't free ourselves from it because we were still seeking this. There is something, and I don't know, you know, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a therapist, I'm none of those things. I'm a tarot card reader, right? Who just shares with you her own experience. But there is something where I do really fully feel that when you've been rejected by your mother, and then someone in life sort of rejects you, or you feel rejected, or you feel like it's all going somewhere and you're finally going to be loved, or, you know, they're finally going to give you what your mother didn't. And I mean, again, this is like, you know, whatever. It is a very hard, it's like a dog with a bone. It's like, oh my gosh, this is what I always wanted. And then it's like, oh no, they're actually rejecting me. You know, then they reject you. And it's like your ego can't withstand it. Like, you don't want it to be true. Like, you don't want to have to experience that again. And you also don't want a larger message to be true that, like, maybe you are unlovable, maybe you are unworthy. You know, it's like you can't process it, you can't handle it, because it is the most painful thing that you have already been through, right? And so you'll just sort of keep pursuing something that to try to make someone change their mind. And it isn't even, it actually, like, at the end of the day, isn't even about, I love you so much I can't live without you, even though that's what you kind of tell yourself. It is, I need approval. I need to feel okay. I need validation. I need this to go a different way. If someone's going to do the rejecting here, I need it to be me, because I can't handle feeling this way again, you know? And that's like a Cliff Notes version of it. But I mean, I've definitely been there, which is why I'm talking to you about it. But like, so no judgment, obviously. But like, it sometimes, like, I had a boyfriend who cheated on me, who, like, all these things. And I mean, he didn't deserve me. He was not any, like, there was, like, I don't know. I mean, he was remarkable in the way that all people are remarkable, right? But he wasn't, like, remarkable. Like, he wasn't, I don't know how to say it, but he wasn't like a standout type, you know what I'm saying? Like, there wasn't, you know, I don't know how to really say it, but, you know, I think that's why I sort of chose him, because I thought, you know, he might be in a place to feel lucky to have me, right? And then, you know, when he was cheating on me and doing all this stuff, it was like, my ego couldn't handle it, I don't think. I mean, I was only, like, you know, 17, 18 years old. But, you know, my ego couldn't really handle it, I don't think. And so it was like, I kept upping the ante to get him back. And I could always get him back. He was always coming back. And I knew he was always coming back. But he knew he was always coming back too. So he would just behave badly, knowing that I would still be there seeking his approval and waiting for him to come back. I mean, it was just kind of a really sad cycle, right? But it, you know, I convinced myself that he was like this huge soulmate, and that, like, there could be no one on earth more perfect for me than this person, and that, you know, I just had to be with him, you know, and so I just kept accepting less than I deserved, and kind of really, you know, putting myself through it. And I think I probably wasn't also, like, I just wasn't very mature at that time, obviously, also. And I think that I also like kind of had an outlet to sort of blame someone for the way I was feeling, because he was always going to mess up, you know, so whatever. Anyway, the thing is, years down the line, you know, after a lot of healing and a lot of space and time, and having found my husband and feeling so lucky to have him, I look at that relationship and I realize that, you know, it wasn't ever really the love or the soul kind of aspect that kept me there. It was my ego, and it was my need to be validated, and my need not to be rejected, and my need to, you know, feel worthy and feel acceptable and feel loved. Like, you know, and those are the hardest things to walk away from. That's the hardest thing to sort of deny yourself. But it is, you know, you walk away from that so that you can be happy, so that you can find contentment, so that, you know, it is out there for you. And, you know, you've got to find it first in yourself. You know, what ended up happening in that relationship is he ended up telling a really stupid lie. I mean, it was really, really, really dumb. It wasn't like he cheated on me or anything like that. It was actually about food. It was like super stupid. And I literally just broke up with him on the spot. I was like, oh my God, you just lied to me. And I know you lied to me, and I'm done. And I literally never spoke to him again. I mean, he reached out to me on Facebook years later when I was already married, but I was just done. And I walked away. It was like, I don't know. I don't know why it was that. I kind of feel like, you know, I was probably spiritually guided in that direction, or like there was some kind of like, you know, I had some kind of help from somewhere else. I don't know. Maybe I was just tired of it. I have no idea. But I just knew, I was like, I can't continue to let myself be treated this way. And I also knew that it wasn't really eventuating into what I actually wanted for myself in my life. And I wasn't going to waste any more time, I kind of feel like. And I think at that point, I also sort of knew he would probably always really pine after me. And so I guess it gave me what I needed. It gave my ego what it needed. I have no idea. But anyway, what I'm trying to tell you is there is something here where I do feel like someone is really breaking out of a cycle here that has its origin in the origin. You know what I mean? Like it actually, you're breaking a cycle that comes from the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of you with you, you know, and your experience in relationships. And you're doing this, or they're doing this, in an attempt to actually find contentment and happiness in this life, in this body, in this go around, in this experience. Wow, okay, wait, what's going on here? Okay. Guys, I mean, seriously, I just don't know. You keep getting the same energy that you have a love connection on the horizon, or possibly you have already begun it. You just get it time after time after time. These champagne glasses are giving me New Year's Eve. All of this energy is really giving me New Year's Eve. So I don't know if that means it's coming in the new year, like 2026, or maybe you're meeting someone on New Year's Eve, or do you guys have plans on New Year's Eve? I don't know. But There's something here where it may begin with some kind of casual dating, like, oh, we'll just see where it goes. It feels like there's no expectations in this casual dating. Like it may even begin with like grabbing coffee or tea or something. But I feel as though the more conversation there is, or the more we get to know each other, the more we realize like how deep this actually is, and how there is a like mutualness to this, where it's like, you know, I share an idea and you have had an idea similar, or like you're taking my idea to the next level, or there's something here about kind of a compatibility of like a deep mutual understanding of each other and where you're coming from. And there is this energy of celebrating having found this. I think you both have weathered some pretty significant difficulties when it comes to love. Both of you may even have like a mother wound. But this is something that you have the wings of love here, which is guidance and protection. So this is like a protected space. This is a protected connection. It does feel like this is coming into your life because you have weathered the storm, because you have, you know, been through a lot here. You know, nothing stays the same forever. That keeps coming out to me. But with love cords, this is definitely a deep soul connection, and it is a spiritual connection as well with this angel here. And I do feel like it's going to lift you up out of, you know, feeling a certain kind of way, or it may even take you the rest of the way out of this energy. Let's go into the tarot. It says on the horizon. I just keep getting that. And those champagne glasses. The horizon feels like January, you know, like 1/1. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just giving me a lot of, wow, I just looked down at my clock and it's 11. Wow. You know, again, you have the Knight of Coins with the Page of Swords. This casual dating. For some of you, you may meet this person online and it may be very slow, or this person, you may have a lot of conversations online before you actually meet in real life. It feels like this person is taking things very slow, but they are also very deliberate. You know, this is a significant beginning. You have the Ace of Coins on the bottom of the deck. This is, you know, a solid, stable beginning given to you by the universe. I keep getting like 1/1, Ace 1. Like, I don't know what this is. But, you know, the Page of Swords can mean that, you know, you do meet online, or that you do a lot of communication digitally. You know, like you may send each other a lot of text messages, or you may, you know, kind of meet through social media, or meet through some sort of online source here. Wow, when I just said that to you, I got sort of a major change in online dating. Like, something is happening where there's a major change in online dating. Like, I just got a very strong feeling with that. Yeah, it's resonating with me. There may be like a new dating thing coming out, or a new like a new attitude about dating. It kind of turned into a mess, it feels like, and there's something happening here. I don't know what that's about, but that's what it feels like. So, but in your personal story, in this individual space, right, there is just this energy of like communication online. This could even be someone that you may meet in person who is sort of on their way somewhere else, or, you know, like you're both going in different directions, or, you know, it's like you don't have time to really get to know each other at that point. And it's possible that like you exchange numbers or you find each other somehow, LinkedIn, you know, social media, whatever, and it begins kind of a slow conversation. But this is a very important beginning. It does mark a very important beginning. I do also, just because these two people are here and the angel is here, it feels like you're very much being brought together. This angel also says guidance. You know, if you are looking for love, if you might say, you know, like, please give me the signs, like, I'll follow the breadcrumbs, like, you know, show me the way to the person, help me to be in the right place at the right time, and then really commit to listening to your intuition, because that's how you're going to communicate. So yeah, I feel you're both in an energy here. It's interesting, Pisces. I really see you as this Page of Swords, and I see this person as this Knight of Pentacles. And you both there is something here for both of you about the past. And the Sun is here on the bottom of the deck, which is saying like you're both getting a lot of clarity, a lot of healing. You're finally, I feel like, moving on from some difficult situations. You're seeing them very clearly. You're understanding like really what happened there, and maybe what role you played, or where it came from with you and where it came from with them, and what you could have done different, or if there was anything you could have done differently. You know, sometimes there's just not. Sometimes it just is how it is, you know. But with this clarity and with this healing, there is for both of you a sense of not being super like excited about letting someone into the space where they could hurt you. You know, this Knight of Pentacles has the Seven of Swords in reverse. Like they've gotten rid of someone who was very deceptive, someone who, you know, probably lied, maybe even ghosted them, maybe even, you know, cheated on them. It could be a lot of things that, you know, they could have really left this person in the lurch even. It just feels really like I let that go. I got rid of that. And it's going to take a lot for me to trust someone again because I went through that. But this person does want to trust someone again. You know, they're ready to invest. Knight of Pentacles. They're just going to be very slow and very methodical. And they're going to be sure that they can trust the next person that comes along before they let them in. I feel like that's part of the lesson they learned from that cycle. For you, Pisces, you know, you've looked back over your entire life and you've kind of put everything in place, and you may have even taken yourself a bit out of the game for a while to sort of process and heal and find the wisdom and the gifts and the lessons and everything that you've already experienced, and even like a healthy perspective about it all. I do feel like you're at peace and acceptance, but I also feel like you are on the move, you know, in your own life. I feel like you are kind of making things happen here. And there is, with the energy of the Page of Swords, it's giving me some kind of learning or some kind of curiosity, or you know what I'm saying? Like some kind of, like your focus may be on following some kind of path here. And it's almost sort of good that you're distracted or that you're looking into something else, because you're not putting so much weight or so much whatever on this, or you're not, it's like you're kind of like, oh yeah, that happened, but it just doesn't register as kind of being such a big deal. But I do think that it does put a smile on your face. You got the Sun on the bottom of the deck. It's kind of, it's one of those things where it's like, all right, you know, I'm, you know, someone may even remark to you like, well, you're sure happy today or whatever, you know, and you're like, oh yeah, I don't know why, you know what I mean? Like, I just sort of feel that energy. Yeah, like there is an energy here where, like, I feel you both know what you want, but there is this person's like back is kind of turned here. And this I feel like is actually both your energies, kind of like, I want this, and I want a relationship, and I want what this sort of seems like maybe it could be. But you have the Seven of Coins, the Eight of Cups, and the Queen of Swords on the bottom of the deck. You're skeptical. You're like, okay, prove it to me. Both of you. Trust does not come easy here, but communication does. And so through communication, it's like, okay, we can build this trust. You both have had to walk away from something that you invested a lot in, and that has sort of made you double take. And I think because you both have looked back on the past, you probably have seen some signs that occurred early on that you either chose to overlook, or that you didn't realize, you didn't understand the significance of it, because you didn't know what would happen in the end to understand the significance of it when you were living it forward, right? But now you're like, oh, if I see that sign, I know what that means. I know where that's going. I'm not going down that path again. You know what I'm saying? And so with the Seven of Coins, you're just kind of like, prove it to me. This is going to require consistency. This is going to require investment. This is going to require, kind of I want to see that you want to get to know me and not just me physically, or I want to know that you're willing to talk a lot before we see each other, or, there's just something here where it's like, prove it to me. I believe things in the past, and so we'll just see how this goes. There's a bit of, like, it is skepticism, but it's also, with the Queen of Swords here, it's kind of like healthy discernment as well. It's like, I know I can't just say, oh, wow, this looks fun, this looks good, maybe this will work, and just go at it. I have to kind of stand back. I have to let it kind of reveal its truth to me. With a Magician on the bottom of the deck, there is this energy of, bravery, of, oh my God, you guys, I just looked down at my phone and it said 1111. And I'm just getting 1-1 all over the place. It's crazy. I don't even normally record at this time. It's sort of wild. Anyway, and then, whoa, the Magician who's I'm talking about is the one. Like, what is happening? Watch for those ones, man. There's signs, there's synchronicities. You guys have been getting a lot of angel numbers in your readings lately. Like, holy crap. But this Magician is giving me the vibe of, like, kind of being brave. And, as each step comes where it offers you an opportunity to kind of take another risk, it is being willing to take another risk and being willing to, like, go there each time. There's an empowered energy about the Magician, and it's kind of like, okay, I can do that. Okay, I can do that. And even though the Magician is a 1, I feel that this is like a very mirrored energy. It's like, okay, you're gonna take that step. Okay, I'll take that step. And it's going somewhere. It's leading somewhere. But it's not like in any way fantasy land or anything like that. It's very much like, okay, we'll see. I don't know. But then every time the opportunity comes that, okay, either I choose this or I don't choose it, you're choosing it. Both of you, I feel. So there is, it's like, we're making progress, like we're doing something without putting a lot of pressure on it. The Page of Wands is being clarified by the Ten of Swords, which honestly, how do I want to say this? It's like, I want this. I know I want to go on this journey. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to consider it. But I do have to contend with this kind of noise in my head that's left over from this cycle. Or, you know, it may not even be noise in your head that's left over from the cycle. It's just the memory of the cycle that may be complete, because it is the 10. So it's either that this comes as you're completing this cycle, as you're really releasing this, as you're really letting this go, or it is sort of like a residue way of thinking that is a result of something really difficult that you went through. And that it's like, okay, you have to keep reminding yourself, but I'm choosing this, but I don't want to let that I've completed that cycle. I don't want to let that cycle influence this. I'm choosing this. And I kind of get that with the Magician. It's like, you know, I'm going to step up to the plate. I'm going to get up there. I'm going to swing the bat, you know, like every single time. As long as the other person is getting up there and swinging the bat, right? And then you have this card that is specific to this deck called the Eye of Providence, which is so weird. That's the like Illuminati. I think I had a dream about this like 2 nights ago. It says, mind the watchful one who sees all our thoughts and deeds. See, this is like, it's a choice. You keep choosing to stay positive. You keep choosing to believe the best. You know that your thoughts have power, and it's kind of like, okay, I'm not going to put this past cycle on this person. I've closed that out. I am going to let it take as much time as it needs to show me what it is and to show me that I can trust it. But I'm not going to be paranoid, or do you know what I'm trying to say here? Because the 5 of Wands is on the bottom of the deck, which is like drama, chaos, blockages, obstacles. And with these 2 cards, it's a way of thinking. And so it's kind of like, I'm avoiding the obstacle. I'm overcoming the obstacle. You know, it's not that I forgot what happened back there. I still remember it, and I'm discerning, and I'm cautious, and I'm going slow, but I'm not bringing those thoughts into the situation. I'm not looking for those red flags. I'm not, you know, if they reveal themselves, okay, I'm going to heed the warning, right? But I'm not looking for them in behavior, because when you look for something, you are going to find it. And you don't want to kind of create your own obstacles. It's like, yeah, it's like basically you're reminding yourself, I want to be on this path. This is the path I choose. This is the path that I asked for. I'm not going to pollute the path. You know what I mean? Like, this is a magical path. I'm going to transmute this energy. I'm going to, you know, remind myself constantly that, like, this is what I want. This is what I've been asking for. This is, this is an opportunity. I got the word opportunity, and then there's the Ace. This keeps coming out. I don't know. Am I not saying something here? I don't know. But again, you've got the 5 of Swords with the 2 of Wands and the Ace of Swords. This is like, saying, okay, I can't control who this person is. I can't control if they're going to end up breaking my heart. I can't control that. Well, the only way I can control that is by not going down the path at all, right? But this is the path that I asked for. This is the path that I want. I want to be in a relationship. And so, life is it is all about choices, right? And one of the biggest choices that we make is us with us, how we deal with our thoughts. We are in control of our thoughts. We can control them. When we say, I can't stop thinking about this, or I can't this, or I can't that, we're giving our power away to that thought. We are letting our thought control us. We're identifying with it. We're latching onto it. We are allowing that. And so here with the Two of Wands and the Five of Swords and the Ace of Swords, it's saying, my choice is I can allow these thoughts that, kind of defeat me, and kind of challenge me and wound me and hurt me, or will kind of eventually lead to that obstacle energy. Or I can keep myself in the path of truth and success and keep my thoughts very simple and very basic, and not let them control me. I can just keep reminding myself, hey, you chose this path. This is what you want. You guys have gotten 3 5s in the last 2 seconds here. You had the Five of Wands, the Five of Swords, and now you have the Five of Pentacles. And there's just this energy of, change. When we decide that we want to do different, or that we want to have a different experience, that doesn't just mean we go out and then it's easy and we just go, oh, okay, I made this choice, I'm going to go do this. It requires work. It's change. It requires us to pave a different path. And, so that requires us to practice and to be mindful and to be conscious and to say, I'm not going the way that I used to go. I am going a different way. This is an opportunity that I asked for. This is something that I want. And now I'm going down this path. I'm not going to let thoughts generated from past experiences pollute my path. I'm just not going to do it. With the Knight of Pentacles, I can go as slow as I want. I can be as deliberate as I want. The Knight of Pentacles is also the energy of I admit it is hard, but I am putting one foot in front of the other because this is the choice that I want to make. I want to go on this path. I just keep getting that. I'm not going to let fear and thoughts generated from spaces of fear kind of pollute the path, because it isn't even just, how do I want to say it? It isn't even just that the thought itself can kind of put other thoughts in your mind. It's energetic. We had that Eye of Providence, which is the divine hears your thoughts. It doesn't know the difference between I want this and I don't want this. And so if you're letting your thoughts go hog wild into spaces of fear and what happened last time and what you don't want to have happen again, you're probably going to see it repeat, because that's what you're bringing into consciousness. So it's saying, to be just focused on the step you're taking in front of you, not being distracted by all the fears. I'm getting this energy of looking both ways, looking to both sides. You can get lost looking to both sides. If you take your eye off the horizon, off where you're going and why you're going there, you can get sucked into a million different directions that are usually quite dark. And so it's kind of just saying, keep your eye on the prize and just keep putting one foot in front of the other. period. And just keep focusing and concentrating on this step you're taking, not, you know, what you don't know or what could be lurking or what could happen. It's not in your control. You know, and then you have this Two of Wands energy, and you have the Eight of Cups coming out in reverse. This is like, okay, you know, if you really get scared, okay, the option always is to bolt. The option always is to like, be like, this is too hard, and, you know, walk away from it, right? But there is something here in this walking away energy of like, if I walk away, I will never know what this could have been. I will never know, you know, I will not have ever, I won't have explored its potential. And, you know, with the Ace of Swords on the bottom of the deck, it's just such a reminder that this is a gift from the universe. You don't get gifts from the universe all the time, every day. They don't just like materialize whenever you feel like it. And there's something here by saying like, this is a gift and I don't want to forget that. You know, even when it's hard, even when it's challenging me, even when it's making me feel uncomfortable, even when it is, you know, asking me to be brave in a way that I'm not sure I can be brave, I need to kind of choose that path, because that is what I actually want. That is what I've actually asked for. Through this process of being brave and continuously applying this energy of just sort of focusing on the step in front of you, and, you know, knowing that there is this back door, you can always bolt, right? But you don't want to. There's this energy of transformation that's actually taking place, where you are transforming as an individual, the other person is transforming as an individual, and the connection is having the opportunity to transform. And there's a lot of communication here. There's a lot of clarity in your reading with the Sun, the Ace of Swords. Like, there's just a lot of cards here that are like, they are giving me like transparency. And I think when you have transparency and you have communication, when you can finally trust that that's exactly what it is, transparency, that someone's not hiding something from you, that you know them well enough to kind of know they really mean what they say. There's, you can move ahead very quickly. You know, you can, you know, all of a sudden you don't need all of those defenses. All of a sudden it doesn't have to be so hard. All of a sudden looking toward the long-term future doesn't give you a ton of anxiety. You know, you sort of are like, okay, it could be great. I'm going to keep focusing on the step in front of me, but like, I'm seeing how this could work out. You know what I mean? And you're not putting pressure, you're not putting expectation, because you're just focused on the step in front of you. And you're not looking back and letting bad past experiences dictate to you where the road goes from here. You know, this is kind of the journey of a lifetime, right? I mean, tarot in general, you know, is the journey of a lifetime personified in cards, or like not personified, but represented in cards. And that's a messy experience. It's, you know, it isn't meant to be easy. It isn't meant to be straightforward. It is your personal, unique, you know, route, whatever, journey. And we are, much of the process, how do I want to say it? It's like, we're kind of taught to believe that the process is about what's outside of us. But the reality is the process is about what's happening inside of us. And the more we master that, the more we master what happens outside of us. Not that we can control it, but that we can respond to it in such a way where we can almost always get the result that we want from whatever we're given. We become alchemists. And that is literally what I see here. I honestly, this is a spiritual path, and it is as much an individual path as it is something that you are experiencing with another person. You know, it is you with you, and it is them with them, and it is you with each other. And through that exploration, like untold things, like just so much, like, oh my God. The amount of learning and the amount of ground covered feels immense in this connection. Okay, I don't know how else to really say that, but both as you with you and both as you with this person. And, you know, it isn't just straightforward. It is a process. You have the 8 of coins with the 2 of swords. This is like, it's almost giving me this energy of like, when you reach a place where you feel like something's touching a wound, or you want to shut down, or you don't want to do it anymore, or it's kind of, you know, do I would say, okay, it's getting hard? No, it's a challenge, you know? And, or you feel like you're reaching a limit, or you're reaching some space inside of you that you haven't gone beyond before ever. With the 8 of coins, it's just saying, hey, remember, you're mastering yourself here as well. That is part of the why you're doing this. This is part of the why, this is part of the life experience, that we are drawn to connection, and that we, in order to connect with someone, we have to understand ourselves kind of fully, right? Like, there's a reason, there is a grander plan here, you know? And it's not about like just being perfect and it being easy and there being no problems. It is about when you reach a problem spot, you are able to say, let me work on this. What can I learn from this? What is this teaching me? You with you. In order to get the most out of the connection, and in order to kind of be the most in the connection. You know what I'm saying? Then you have the Knight of Wands with the King of Cups. And, you know, throughout any relationship, there is always this, you know, I could leave, you know, like we have free will, and, you know, we can leave. But in a good relationship, in a solid relationship, both people get to pursue their desire and realize who they are fully as a person while still being a couple. Like, I know this to be true. This is my experience. I ran off to New York City and California and was like photographing celebrities, and like I was also married, and I also had kids, and I, you know, you can, it is a platform of support. And even when, you know, sometimes you may think like, what if they don't come back, or what if they don't want me, or what if, you know, that changes them and then we can no longer meet on the same level. There, with the King of Cups, it is saying like, no, it deepens your level of love. It deepens, you know, for me, for my husband, it definitely, like, the fact that he was so supportive of me doing all of that and figuring out what I was capable of, in the same way he's been able to figure out what he's capable of through his career. I love him even more. I love him more dearly than I can say for that alone. And I think he loves me more dearly because I was successful. I mean, he would always just say to me, like, I am freaking blown away by you. I cannot believe that you're doing this, you know? And I'm like, that enhances a connection, that builds a deeper bond and a bigger bridge. And, you know, I think, you know, it just was my anniversary, you know, and like we were talking about all the things that we have been and all the phases of life that we've gone through, and the people that were there when we got married that aren't here anymore, and some of them haven't been here for 20 years. And you know, just like the landscape of those 28 years, and just like the whole time, the one constant, the one true reliable thing besides me was him, you know? And for him, it was him and me, you know? And that is, you know, that's why you do it. That's why you put yourself on the line. Because that kind of companionship, that kind of connection is a buoy for you in this crazy fucked up world we live in, you know? It is a soft place for you to come home to. It's someone that understands without you having to explain all the backstory, right? It's someone who, you know, has your back and is your biggest cheerleader, and also, you know, the person that you come home to. I'll never forget, my husband used to come in the airport, like I'd come home and I would have worked like 20 hours a day. I toted photography equipment all over New York City, just like everywhere. My whole body would be just broken. I would be covered in this stuff called salon paws, these little pads, these medicated pads for muscles. I'd be covered in it. I always felt sorry for the person sitting next to me on the plane because I just smelled like it, you know? And like he would come as close as he could to the gate to wait for me. And the moment I would see him, he would just start taking my stuff. He would take my backpack that weighed like 40 freaking pounds. He would take my rolling carry-on, which was, you know, a pain in the rear. Then we'd go down to the carousel and he would get my seat. It was just like all I knew, like, I just have to get on this airplane. And then I just have to get myself off this airplane to him. And then he will just take care of me. And that is why you do it. I mean, to just have someone to lighten the load. And when it isn't that, you deserve more. You just deserve more. If you're capable of showing up like that for someone, and you want to show up like that for someone, and you will put yourself aside sometimes to show up for someone like that, then you deserve that. That's exactly what you deserve. And so there's something here in this energy where it is a test. And it is a test in the sense of it's a choice. You always have a choice. You can let this be the thing that stops the thing. You can be triggered by someone pursuing their own desire in the connection. You can, there's so many things that are going to come into play here in this journey, right? But if you just are always understanding that the connection is as much about you with you as it is about you with them, always, every day, every minute, all the time, and that there are going to be things that challenge you as an individual, and there are going to be things that challenge you as a couple, and that as long as you make the choice to choose from the highest and best, then what you will end up with is a deeply rich emotional life, you with you and you with them. You have the Two of Coins on the bottom of the deck, which is why I keep talking about choice here. And it's the choice between love and fear, right? My God. You have the Page of Pentacles clarifying that Hermit, and the Six of Swords clarifying this energy over here, and the freaking beautiful Sun on the bottom of the deck. Guys, you really, there's a journey coming, and you know, we can't say, okay, this, you know, this is who is going to be the one for you. But it does feel like there is an opportunity here for this. And it is all about choices, your own choices and their choices, and how those choices, you know, where they end up taking you, where they end up bringing you to. Guys, all I can say to you after this reading is just this. I honestly, I truly show up here to this desk every day because I really want every single one of you to have great love in your life. To love and to be loved. That is the greatest of all things. And I just hope that for you. I want that for you. I hope that in this space, we're generating it, we're manifesting it, we're calling it in together for each and every one of you. It has been the greatest gift of my life. And if I can pay that back in any small way ever, I'm going to take that opportunity, because gosh, I don't know where I'd be without it. All right, let me get you guys some messages. Oh, what is going on, Bhakti Francis? Oh, you think you need a treat? Are you huffing at me? Are you huffing at me like a horse? You do need a treat? You do? Okay, you gotta give me a minute. You gotta give me a minute, boy. All right, if you're dealing with a water sign, you will always be my secret love. Our eye contact is insane. I had no idea you would end up meaning so much to me. If you are dealing with a fire sign, controlling, regret, anxious, interesting. If you're dealing with an an earth sign, you're getting, you were so unexpected, nostalgic. My karmic story is ending, and I remember everything you said. If you're dealing with an air sign, you're getting guarded. You are the one. Trust me, and I am overcoming my fears. All right, guys, this is truly what I have for you. I really hope that it helps. I hope that it brings you some peace and clarity. And I hope it brings you big, 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 huge, beautiful love. Until next time, I send you off with all my very best. Always, always, always. Bye-bye.